get to it. Let's get to it. All right. Welcome, 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 welcome to the Red Hot Mic. And I am your host, G. Alpha Palmer. And I am so glad to have you here with me for this time, this season, because I know and understand this. Where you spend time, you're spending your most valued commodity. Because, we spend our money or we spend uh, whatever. I mean, anything, you name it, we can get it back. But there's only one thing we can't get back, our time. So I want to thank you for spending this time with me on the Red Hot Mic. I am so grateful for you being with me. And we have to do a little bit of this. Let's get started. Welcome. A toast to you. To your wholeness. To all that you can and will be. Pomegranate juice. All right. We're here one more time. And we're much appreciative of you being here with us. Because without you, there's no program. But I do know that doing this program is very, very important. I like loud music. Sometimes I get a little carried away, so let me get it down a little bit. But I want to thank you. For being here. This tonight is going to be a program that I think will it's going to really make some people anxious, maybe. I don't know. It's going to affect some people in a very real way. And I'm looking forward to it. I really am. But it's that time. It's that time for us to ruminate, elevate, and to activate here at the Red Hot Mic. And please, if you would, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. We would very much appreciate it. I would very much appreciate if you would do that for us to help the algorithm so that we can continue to grow this channel. We can't do it any other way. So I've been reaching out this year. I've been trying to reach out more to get more people to subscribe. I've been coming at you very directly, trying to get you to subscribe to the channel, because what that does is moves us out to be seen by more people, and I need you to do that to help us to be able to be seen by more people. Well, you see the title for tonight's broadcast, and I am really looking forward to it. The title is Men Dealing with Witchcraft in Modern Relationships. Men dealing with witchcraft in modern relationships. You'll be surprised that the number of things that are occurring within relationships that are considered to be in the realm of witchcraft. So we're going to talk a little bit about it, and what I want to do is focus on understanding masculine empowerment. It's not about trying to unveil witchcraft. It is about unveiling masculine empowerment, because this is the masculine man cave. This is about empowering men in a culture that is attempting to devalue, is attempting to emasculate, eliminate, and disembowel men and manhood. So we're here, and I enjoy it because it's the Red Hot Mic, and what we want you to do is come on in this house. Come on. I know the weather's changing; it's getting a little warmer, but still, it's that fire that you can come in and be exposed to the warmth. Not only that warmth, but there's some things that need to be burnt out of us, isn't it? So what we want to do is we want to offer you that opportunity to come on into the Red Hot Mic. Come on in here. Come on in this house. Your mother ever say that to you? Your father ever say that to you? They scream outside and tell you to come on in this house? because them street lights are coming on. Well, some of y'all don't even know anything about that. But anyway, it's the Red Hot Mic, and I am so glad that you're here with us. So before we get started, I want to do something just like this. Be right back.
In our current global climate, we're facing challenges never before experienced by this generation. Oppositions where no one seems to have clear directions or answers to the risks facing us. Confrontations like racial and gender unrest, political gerrymandering, toxic leadership, economic crisis, global pandemic, health threats, pre-existing medical conditions, isolation, boredom, and loneliness are driving people to desperation. As a result, people are confused, afraid, anxious, and perplexed, and they need answers to some tough questions and even tougher situations. They are looking into different outlets for answers to gain assurance and consolation. Some have drawn closer to the embrace of family, while others look more towards their friendships, education, and even religion. What we need is a fresh voice of truth and clarity, and not a stale religious echo from the past. There's a re-emerging voice on the horizon that isn't afraid to stand alone and give spiritual and mentally sound direction to a world searching for answers. G. Alfred Palmer offers a voice of sound human development and empowerment to those willing to hear. There's a need for new ideas to old principles, a perspective from a timeless origin, but with current vision, a thought leader who understands what it means to stand alone and speak truth when some are hard of hearing. But if you've been waiting to hear a voice that opens the gates of freedom and breaks the shackles of confusion to allow you to step forward into the dawning of a new and exciting future, then it's time to bridge the gap with Dr. G. Alfred Palmer. He is a dynamic speaker, thought leader, and entrepreneur, equipped to elevate, expand, and extend the development, empowerment, and leadership of his audiences. He stands ready to speak at your next event. His delivery is guaranteed to refresh, entertain, and transform. G. Alfred Palmer bridges the gap from uncertainty to the purpose, to passion, and leadership. Book him today for your next event, and you won't be disappointed.
Welcome back to the Red Hot Mic. And the music that you hear playing, we play in homage of Mr. Kevin Samuels. And we do this every time as a homage of recognizing what this man has done for many people, not just men, but people in general. Now, what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to get rid of some of the light. Because I'm going to tell you the truth, I do like light, but I don't like darkness. But anyway, we do several things. We do the candle of the evening, and we do the scent of the evening. So tonight, our scent, I should say our candle of the evening, is from Apoteca, which is their charcoal blend. And the charcoal blend, it says here, is the #1 seller, and it's featured in our signature matte black vessel. Will instantly elevate the room in your house. Notes of cedarwood and sandalwood blend with the smoky amber and oud make charcoal a grody, full-bodied scent. When lit, our charcoal candle will fill the room with hours of rich and inviting fragrances that everyone will fall in love with, transforming your space with charcoal. So let's give it a shot. I do like it. I mean, this is not the first time using this particular candle, but I do have to say that I do like it. And so we're gonna put our candle right here, and you can go online and get and order yourself Apoteca, the charcoal blend. Okay, so that's one of the things that we do in homage of Kevin Samuels. And I mean, the bottom line is candles help change an atmosphere. So it becomes really one of those kinds of things that you can do to change the atmosphere where you are in the room that you're at or in or whatever. And it can add to the ambiance or change the ambiance in which you're in. So, if you're looking for something to be able to do that with the least amount of effort, then candles are something that you might want to look at. Okay, our scent, our fragrance of the evening is one of my favorites. It is Tom Ford Noir Extreme. Now it says here that Tom Ford Noir Extreme spray gives man a dynamic woodsy scent to match with their daring personality. Fashion designer Tom Ford launched this fragrance in 2015. Re-imaging it in 2012 and 2013, Tom Ford Noir's fragrance is strong Far East influences. Make this rich scent that takes you beyond the ordinary. Top notes are a citrus and mandarin oil with a spice of cardamom blended with several middle tones, including Himalayan snow and nutty sweet pistachio. A complex set of base notes balances deep amber and clothes the unique combination. So I just have to say this is one of my favorites, and so it's not the first time that I've used this, but it is. Listen, fellas, you have to add this to your repertoire of scents. You really, really need to do that because it is a rich scent that you could use at work and at play. More likely at play than at work, but it is a rich woodsy take on a scent. And I think one of the things that's important about it is, I'm not that renowned when it comes to scents. But one thing I will say about this is that I think you can wear this pretty much year round. Maybe not, normally woodsy and kind of plant-based. There's more wintertime or fall. But I think that's something that you can get away with at either any time of the year that you would like to wear it. Tom Ford, one of my favorites. Okay, so you know what's next. Some of you that tune in to us, you know what's next for us and what we do. And I'm going to add the camera to allow us to do what we do. And what we do is we add what we call the answer wheel. One of my favorite parts of our program, because during the answer wheel, what we do is we allow what I believe to be the universe to answer a question. Maybe you've got a situation in your life where you're having issues getting an answer, making a decision. And so what we do is with the answer wheel, we give the answer wheel a turn, and we believe, and we choose to believe, because that's what you have to do. You can choose to or not to agree, believe that this can be a means of getting an answer. Because the universe has a myriad of different ways to answer questions. But in this particular situation, we choose to use the answer wheel. And we believe that the answer wheel is going to give you an answer for that perplexing situation that you're facing right now. That's what we believe. Now, what do you believe? If you can believe that you can get an answer, there's no reason why you can't. That situation has been perplexing. You just can't seem to make up your mind. This is why we do the answer wheel. And I believe that it's an opportunity for the universe, not me, to give you an answer. Now, on the answer wheel, there's several answers. There's definitely, no way, try again, ask a friend, yes, and maybe. Those are the answers. And so what we do is we give the answer wheel a little turn. And what's going to happen is we hope that it stops on one of and it did. It stopped already on maybe. Normally it takes a little longer, but somehow tonight it did not take long at all. Maybe is one of those situations where you have an option. That's what I like about maybe. Maybe it is, maybe it's not, but there is an option. And what I believe the universe is saying is that you have a choice. You have a choice. Either way, you have an option to do or not to do, to go or not to go, to take or not to take, right? To bring or not to bring. It's totally up to you. And what you've got to do is make up in your mind, weigh the pros and cons, do a SWOT analysis and see what the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and strengths are, and come up with what you believe as the most advantageous answer in this situation and go about that, because the universe is saying maybe, giving you an opportunity to make a choice. And it's always good to be able to make a choice, because basically the universe says it's not no right or wrong, it's just what you prefer. So what do you most prefer in that situation would be the thing that would be okay to do, okay? So yes, the answer wheel is something that I really, really enjoy doing. Yeah, I hope you enjoy it too. All right, that's it. No, I'm kidding. Now it's time for us to get into what I want to talk about. Now, I've been inviting a lot of people to be a part of the broadcast. I wanted to see if we could get some folks to give some comments. Let's see what it looks like. Well, we'll get there. We'll get there. I believe we will eventually get there. But tonight's subject, men dealing with witchcraft in modern relationships, is about understanding masculine empowerment. What we're experiencing right now in our community, culture, and clan, what we're experiencing through the media and things like that, we're seeing a situation where masculinity empowerment is at probably an all-time low. I can't imagine it being any lower than what it is. And what I'm seeing is, men are afraid of the cancel culture. They'll cancel you, but I mean, they can't cancel you if the universe has given you a platform and given you a message and something to say. They can't do it. They can attempt to, but the truth of the matter is, their arms are too short to box with the universe. Because when you are giving something to say, and you're giving it to empower people, you're not diminishing anyone. That's not the purpose of this. It's not to diminish anyone, but it is an opportunity for men to begin to move out again. Because for real, it seems like there are many men just are afraid. They're operating under fear. They don't want to say anything because they're afraid. They're afraid. Now, what we're going to do tonight is we're going to gain an understanding of witchcraft from a masculine perspective, which means some of you may not like what's going to be said. But I would say this to you. You might want to get your sons. You might want to get your nephews. You might want to get your brothers. You might want to get your husbands. You might want to get your significant other. You might want to get someone to listen to this, because the truth of the matter is, more people are under the influence of witchcraft than you might think. And so we're gonna look at it. This video is not about the occult. I don't know a whole lot about the occult, nor do I want to. That's not what this video is about. It's not about the occult. It's about empowerment of masculine energy. We want to allow men to begin to rise up again. It's not about putting down or putting off or putting aside. is about putting on masculine energy, and to be all that you were created to be, meant to be, and mandated to be. That's the reason why masculine energy has been taking a back seat, especially in our culture. It's because not only in our culture, but around the world, it's because of failure. There has arisen a failure of defining, demanding, and displaying masculine energy unapologetically. We're scared. Some guys are scared to represent manhood when females have no apology about getting on and doing the most obscene and absurd things. So regardless of what people may think or feel or believe about masculine energy, this universe wouldn't be where it is if it weren't for masculine energy. Now, some people say, well, oh, you're not talking about, no, I'm not talking about women. I'm not talking about feminine energy. I'm talking about masculine energy, because we need, as masculine entities, to understand our place, our power, and our position. Now, the efforts of the media has attempted to emasculate, eliminate, and feminize masculine energy. That's what they're trying to do. But this is going to require for us as men to stand up and not be afraid of demanding our rightful place. Now it's important to understand that masculine power is not misogynistic. It is not chauvinistic. It's not depressive, demanding, or debilitating. No, it's not. It's the rightful order of the universe from a binary perspective. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. So what we're beginning to see is an increase in cultic, pagan action. And it's important for us to understand the rightful place that we have as caretakers, as men in this realm. And look, I've been labeled narcissistic, misogynistic, chauvinistic, female hating my mother. I've been labeled gay, and a myriad of other things. All my people who have never met me. They've never even had a conversation with me, but they've given me these sign languages, as Kevin Samuels used to say. Okay? They don't even know anything about me. Only what they think they've heard or seen. But that's fine. You've got to continue on and do what you believe the universe has assigned you to do. The universe has assigned me to speak to men at this season, to speak to males this season, and to speak to boys this season. And I'm sure it's going to change. And if you look and if you follow me, I speak to females too, a lot. And so much so that many of the girls and the women and the females think that I'm lumping them all together. But you got to understand that there's a difference. If you look at some of my other videos, you'll see that I'm not, when I speak of women, or let me say it this way, when I speak of females, I'm not talking about women. And when I'm talking about women, I'm not speaking of females. So you have to understand the difference between the three. And the only way you can do that, from my perspective, is to look at some of the videos that I've put out. Now, let me tell you this. I've watched some other content creators talking about the same subject, and it really resonated with me to be able to come in and to do some of the same thing, but from a more developmental perspective. Now, there is a TikTok channel called Black Witches. That's right. There's a TikTok channel called Black Witches. And these are females who declare being witches. And one female defined witchcraft as energy manipulation. energy manipulation. Now, I'm going to use that definition to say what I'm getting ready to say. Now, energy manipulation cannot be manipulated. Energy cannot be manipulated, only assigned and fulfilled. And it's only one energy that it can come from, and that energy is that of the Creator. The Creator is the source of all energy. And with that energy comes assignment. Now, there's two energies that I want to talk about. One is masculine and one is feminine. Okay. Now, when I talk about masculine and feminine, I'm not talking about gender. I'm not talking about gender. I'm talking about energy that and how it functions and how it operates. It has no assignment as gender. It has functional and operational assignment. Now, when we look at masculine energy does this. It initiates. It penetrates. Okay? It pierces. And it inserts. That's what masculine energy does. Without any reservation, I declare that without any shadow of a doubt that masculine energy inserts, penetrates, pierces, and inserts and injects. Okay, these are the things that masculine energy operationally and functionally do, even before it comes and gains an assignment and comes to this realm that we call Earth. See, anything before it comes to Earth, it has to be one or two things. It has to either be principles or it has to be laws. Okay. Feminine and masculine are principles that become laws when we begin to put on those two binary energy sources. And actually, when they come into this sphere, they become resources. So it's important you understand this, that masculinity, I shared with you what it does. Now, let me share with you what feminine energy does. Feminine energy receives, incubates, nurtures, and strategizes. That's what feminine energy does. Now, this is what's happening with the witchcraft that people are doing. They think that they have the ability to manipulate energy, but you don't have the ability to manipulate energy. Only and the only one that can assign the functionality, the proper functionality of energy is the Creator. And the Creator has assigned the energy to have two binary sources or resources as it comes to this planet, masculine and feminine. Now, when it comes to this planet, masculine and feminine takes off the E drops, and it puts on an ITY. The ITY literally means to a degree, okay? It means order. In other words, it represents science. So what masculinity and femininity are is that same thing that I was talking about, but in a scientific manner, where masculinity inserts, pierces, and all of, but it does it from a scientific methodology. There is science. There's a formula. Same thing with femininity. There's a formula for incubation, okay, for nurturing, for receptivity. Listen, I'm going to say this, and someone may be offended, but the bottom line is this. When we start talking about masculinity, and there's nothing about a man that receives. We're not designed to receive. We are designed to insert. We are designed to initiate. We are designed to pierce. We're designed to penetrate. Not just, and it's also in our body. You look at your body and you tell me what part of our body enables us to be able to do that. That's right. And so what it's basically telling us is that from a femininity perspective, from a feminine perspective, from energy or law, what's basically is saying is that we are designed as the universe intended. Whether you like it or not, what we've got to learn to do is to embrace what the universe has declared as to be our most effective means of operating and functioning here on earth. The reason why you can't fulfill anything and you're confused is because you haven't embraced the total you. You haven't come to understand what it means to be feminine or femininity or masculinity. You don't understand it. And because of that confusion that you may be experiencing, because you may be ambivalent or you may be just resistant for whatever reason to that assignment that you've been given by the universe. That suit that you wear is a representation of your energy that's been assigned to you. And what your parents are supposed to do is to understand what you are and to teach and to discipline you in the area of femininity or masculinity, whatever suit that you wear. But it's because of the confusion, the resistance, that witchcraft is given an inroad. The inroad comes from our confusion, our resistance, our ambivalence. And because of that, what happens is it opens a door to a mode of thinking and to a religion. We're going to talk about it in a minute. We'll get there. I'm going to take my time tonight because this is going to be a long video, but it's going to be something that you can take it and go bite-sized pieces and then come back and do a little at a time. I would encourage you to take notes and things of that nature because this is going to be a long one. So I'm going to take my time with this one, if you please. Now, what I've tried to do just now, is to give you an understanding of the difference between masculine and feminine, masculinity and femininity. Now, in witchcraft, what they want you to believe is that they're able to manipulate. If you're feminine, femininity, you can manipulate masculinity energy. You cannot. You know why? Because you're 100% feminine and I'm 100% masculine. You can't be what you're not designed. This is the problem that we have with people that have confusion about their gender. What you'll see is that there'll be not just a putting on of the traits of that opposite sex or that opposite gender, but what you'll also see is that goes overboard. It's more. It's excessive. And the reason it's excessive is because deep down they understand that they lack the natural innate gender and tools and design of the gender that they think they want to be. So there is this outward overkill, if you would, of trying to be something you're not. You can never, ladies, you can never be masculine. There's nothing about you that's masculine. Gentlemen, there's nothing about you that's feminine. And the reason for that is because we need each other. If you say that you have feminine in you, why do you need feminine? Why do you need her? You don't, but you do need her because you're 100% masculine and you don't have in you any feminine, and you need her feminine to assist your masculine, and vice versa. She's 100% feminine and needs your masculine because she doesn't have it. And we can look at that from a natural standpoint. There's things that men are built to do that women cannot do. And that's masculinity and femininity. That's not a put down. That's a scientific fact. But see, what people want to do in witchcraft is to tell you that they can manipulate energy. As my pastor used to say, the devil is a liar. Okay? But here's another thing that we've got to understand. We've got to understand as guys, we've got to understand that masculinity, we've got to choose masculinity over misogyny. See, because this misogyny opens you up to witchcraft. And see, what happens is we got dudes that are alpha males, beta males, delta males, and the bottom line is because they're still males, they have not developed into manhood. You need to check some of my other videos where I talk about the difference between boyhood, malehood, and manhood. A male is not a man. A male is not, a female is not a woman. And the reason is because they haven't fully developed. And I'll go further into it in a minute. Now, what we've got to understand is that masculinity, we must choose masculinity over misogyny, because misogyny will open the door to the tactics of misunderstanding and give way to the possibility of falling under the influence of paganism, which witchcraft is. Now, not only do we have to choose masculinity over misogyny, we've got to choose masculinity or patriarchal over matriarchal for males. For males. In order for us to go and grow into manhood. I'm not talking about females. Again, this is the masculine man cave. I'm talking about men. I'm talking about males, and I'm talking about boys. We've got to choose masculinity, which is balanced. Patriarchy. It's not misogyny. It's not chauvinism. Okay? We've got to choose and see what we're doing, because we don't have fathers in our homes. We're choosing matriarchy over patriarchy as males. You'll hear some males that sound more feminine than they do masculine. But they say they're straight, but yet they sound more feminine than they do masculine. And you have some females that sound more masculine than they do feminine. And there's an over-exaggeration in attitude and clothing and dress and language and how they look on both sides of the equation. So what we've got to understand that these are the kind of behaviors that open the door to paganism. Now, and another thing that you've got to understand is this: like is drawn to like. Like is drawn to like, and it's important for you to know. It's like a drug addict. A drug addict will hang around the people that use drugs the way that they use drugs, or the alcoholic will hang around the alcoholic that drinks the way that they drink, or the weightlifter will hang around those that lift the way that they lift, and so on and so forth. And the makeup artists will hang around those that do McEnnis, birds of a feather flock together. There's no way that you're going to tell me that you're around a certain people and that you're not like them, but you just hang around them because this, that, and the other. No, you're like them. You just haven't come to the realization that you are like that, because anything else would be totally uncomfortable. You wouldn't hang around people that you're uncomfortable. You hang around those that you're comfortable. And the reason why you're comfortable is because they're like you. And so it's the same thing with witches. Witches will hang with witches. Witches will hang with witches. So it's important that we understand that like will hang with like. It's important that we know the difference between spirituality and religion. They are not the same. In religion gets its foundation from paganism. And what paganism does is paganism holds religious beliefs other than the mainstream or recognized religions that are out there. They start holding beliefs, creeds, and such the like in certain ways of operating and functioning, other than maybe the Christian or the Muslim or the Buddhist or whatever. But to be pagan is to be religious. It's not spiritual. Because paganism still has some things that you have to abide by in order for you to be a part of that particular order. So paganism is not spiritual. We're going to talk about spiritual in a minute, the difference between religion and spiritual. But paganism is religious and not spiritual. See, what we've got to understand is religion and religious has to do with the mind, has to do with cognition, has to do with the mentality and the way we think. So, but it's not really spirit. See, you can think up stuff and make it seem real to you. That's what paganism does. Now, religion holds creeds and customs and rules, right? And in these religions, belief plays a big role. Belief and faith plays a big role. So these things that come up in your mind as to, you do this, put this in his food, you do this to him, and if he believes that, because he hasn't developed in his developmental perspectives or his developmental stages correctly, and has opened the door to some of that kind of belief system, he'll have belief and faith in it, and those kinds of things. He'll begin to use his own power, and you begin to use your own faith against yourself, because a woman does not have the ability to insert, to initiate, to pierce, or to penetrate. She's not built that way. So what she has to do is to get you to use your own ability to penetrate, to pierce, and to insert against yourself, because she can't do it. For instance, let me give you another example. When the creator, and for some of you may not believe this, but that's fine, I'm going to use this as an example still. When the creator created, when he created feminine and masculine, and they had to come into this realm, the E was dropped and the ITY had to be put on both. And that gave us the science of masculinity and femininity. And we had to put on flesh. That's where men became men, or boys became boys, and girls became girls, and we came into this realm to operate in that fashion. Girls will do what girls do, and boys will do what boys do, and then they will matriculate and develop, right, into male, and then also later, hopefully, into men. But if you don't develop and be taught in the areas I'm getting ready to show you, what will happen is you will be thwarted in the way that you are to grow and go. And as a result of that, you begin to become a tool that's able to be manipulated. But you're using your own power and ability against yourself. It's not no one else doing it. When Adam and Eve came to this planet, Eve had no way of penetrating and entering this atmosphere, entering this sphere. She wasn't built that way. She wasn't built that way. She can only receive. And in order to get into this sphere, there had to be a means for femininity to be released in this sphere. So first, feminine had to come and drop the E and put on an ITY to come into this sphere, but still femininity was still not able. So what had to happen was femininity had to be covered. Had to be covered. See, that's why masculinity covers. It protects. And it was able to cover femininity and bring it into the sphere because masculinity pierces. Masculinity inserts. Masculinity initiates. That's the word I'm looking for. Initiates. And brought femininity into this sphere. And when it came, it separated. And when it separated, what happened then was the creator created man, but formed woman. See, if you create something, you create it out of nothing. But when you form something, you form it out of something. Woman was formed from man, but man was created in the image and the likeness of the creator. It's because of that reason that men can speak into the lives of women, but women are not supposed to speak into a life of a man. She comes from him. Someone will say, well, you got to give birth. There's a difference from coming through something and coming from something. Babies pass through women. They incubate them and they pass through them. What is the most powerful is that which inserts and plants. Okay, so it's important to understand that men can speak into the lives of women. I try to speak into the lives of females. They don't want to hear me. They think that they just because they've got master's degrees and they've got PhDs, that they don't have to listen to you. But these are the same people that say that they believe in the creator. But see, they pick and choose what they want to believe in the creator. The creator created man, but he formed woman from man. You may not like it, but it's tight, but it is also right. Now, the next thing I want you to understand is this, that there's only one spirit. And that's the spirit of the creator. Gentlemen, you got to understand this. The creator has not given you a spirit of intimidation or timidity. You're not given a spirit of cowardice or of a drawback nature, easily intimidated. What we're seeing through the media is trying to put on men a spirit of intimidation, that you're intimidated by that which comes from you, by that cowardice of that which comes from you, because she's got more education. It has nothing to do with academia. It has to do with design and spiritual purpose. So if you understand, gentlemen, who you are, and that you refuse to have a spirit of intimidation, of cowardice, and a drawback nature, and that you're going to stand, even though they may try to counsel you, call you names, regardless, you have to stand and be a man and stop being a boy or male. Now, I said this before, and I want to elaborate a little bit more, and that is that one's power of paganism is in the power of paganism is found in one's belief and faith in it. If you allow it to have a place and a space in you, that's with anything though. Whatever you believe, you give it power, but you're giving it your power. When you refuse to give yourself to something, it can't do anything but go somewhere else. But you've got to have the determination that you're not going to allow it to come. You're not going to allow this cowardness. You're not going to allow this intimidation. You're not going to allow this drawback nature to have a place in you. Okay? Okay, so let's talk about spirituality. Now, I'm going to give you a definition of what I call spirituality. Now, there's other people out there that's going to give you definitions. Fine. See, what we think is that Webster's definition of something is the one all and be all of a definition. No, it's not. A lot of the definitions that Webster came up with are wrong. They are wrong. And so what we've got to do is to learn how to dig, how to research, and go about finding what the word really means. See, because Webster had some ideas on his own, and some of them were not of the purest nature. Many of these people were racist, were sexist. They didn't have the best interest of humanity. They had the best interest of those that looked like them, that had on the same suit as them. But anyway, that's another one. So let's talk about the realization, or when we define spirituality, that is the realization of a source energy, a great spirit, a great being, or the universe, which connects all things. But not only that, but it seeks to establish and maintain equilibrium, equality, and effectiveness. Now, this is done through a preordained mission, assignment, and design. And this mission, assignment, and design accesses energy that only works in concert with the purpose, principles, and pursuits of the originating source. That's a lot. I'm telling you what spirituality is. But nowhere in there does religion or paganism play a role. Nowhere. Because paganism is a religion. It is not spirituality. Okay. Now that is a rich. I'm going to tell you. That is a rich definition that you really need to go back and look at. You really need to go back and look at that definition, because it is powerful. Gentlemen, you need to get that definition. And if you want me to go into that definition and explain it further, I can do that for you. But it's important that you understand that definition of spirituality, because spirituality, the next thing it does is that it connects all things through the primary source or creator or the universal proprietor, which means the owner. Okay. Spirituality it connects everything, which means if it connects everything, there is an order. There's a scientific means of proper operation and functionality. And what we've got to do is to find the mind, because in spirituality, you will find the mind of the creator, the primary source, or the universal proprietor. Okay. Spirituality is based on relationship. We are to have relationship with everything around us. Religion is based on rules, roles, and rank, creeds, right? And conditions. That's what religion is, but not spirituality. It's about relationship. And if you have relationship with the creator and understand who you are, that relationship cannot be broken by a pagan religion. It cannot be broken by a pagan religion. Now, I talked about the idea of understanding that everything comes from first principles, and principles then become laws. When it came into this sphere, we experienced what's called binary law. Now, a lot of people are saying now that they are non-binary. They don't want, they resist and reject binary law. But the truth of the matter is you can't reject it, because when you talk about binary law finds its origin from principles. And principles are the spiritual source, nature, and scope of everything. But when it comes into this sphere, it puts on laws. Laws are specific ways of doing things, and it's always binary. And if we look at some of binary is always yin and yang, left and right, on and off, right? Up and down, north and south, east and west, opposites, right? Opposites, boys and girls, boy, girl, male and female, man and woman, okay? The universe is designed with a binary foundation that extends to a diversity of others, but at a foundational level, it's bi. Bi meaning two. Two means unity in some ancient languages. So binary means unity. It means two. It means to flow. It means to operate and to function in concert together. Somebody wants to say opposites. No, it's not opposite. It is the flow from one end to the other. Some people will contest that binary also equates to good and evil, which is not true, because there's no such thing as good and evil. Because good is a principle, not a law nor science. The difference that really needs to be identified goes back to the original creative sources, which is masculine and feminine. Not good and evil, masculine and feminine. Masculine and feminine are the original sources or resources of energy. Again, how I describe what they do functionally and operationally. So it's important for us to understand that. Okay? It's important for us to understand that. Now, here's something that I think is very, very important for us to understand. There are 3 stages of human development. And this is so important. There's 3 stages of human development. For boys is boy, male, and man. For girls, it's girl, man, female, and woman. Now, these stages of development have 8 elements of masculine and feminine development. Now, it's important that you understand this. Now, I have other videos on what I'm going to, so I'm not going to go in depth here about what I'm getting ready to say, because there are other videos that go more in depth than what I'm doing here in this video. It's important to understand that the masculinity development has 8 elements of development. And those areas are mental development, cognitive development, emotional development, philosophical development, intellectual development, psychological development, physiological development, and chronological development. Now, again, all of these are talked about in other videos and in some of my literature that's in some of the books on the website, which we'll put in the description below. But it's important that you understand that these 8 elements of development, they take you from boyhood to malehood. Then those same 8 elements on a higher level will take you from malehood to manhood. And once at manhood, you are fully developed in these 8 areas. Same thing with females, girls, females, women. Now, the attack against all humanity comes in one of the 8 areas or the 8 elements that I just talked about in as far as masculinity and femininity development. These attacks of witchcraft or what have you come from one of these areas. a lack of development in one of these areas or one of these elements can open you up and give you a way to succumb, that's the word I'm looking for, succumb to some of these tactics, suggestions of using your power against yourself. The open door finds its ability and power through your own ignorance, your own fear, your own confusion, your own uncertainty. I said this before in a different way. So when you open the door to fear, confusion, and uncertainty, there are all kinds of things that will come in through that door. So the importance of knowing who you are is critical. And you know who you are through your developmental phases. Now, here's the thing. Now, how do you defeat these what we call, let me get something here real quick. How do we defeat that's not what I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking for. Okay. How do we defeat the Okay, we can just go with what we got. We'll go with what we got. Okay. So how do we deal with this modern day or witchcraft in our modern day relationships? Because there's some things that are being used against us. If you go and look at some of these channels that are out there, gentlemen, they're designed to control you. But it cannot control you if you know who you are. No one can control you when you know who you are. So how do we do this? How do we defeat these proponents of witchcraft? First thing you have to know, number one, you want to take these down. You have to have a proper mentality. You have a proper mentality of who you are. You got to have a proper mentality of masculinity. You got to have you got to understand the difference between masculine and feminine energy. You've got to understand the importance of standing in the power of masculinity and how that came about. See, with that comes the protection and the knowledge of who you are. And once you have the knowledge of who you are, nothing, no one can take you from that. And it has nothing to do with religion. It has all to do with who the Creator made you. Some people say, well, it's about Jesus. Well, you are Jesus, the Christ. And let me clarify that for you. The word Christ is not a noun, which means it is not talking about a person. But what it does is describes who Jesus was. Jesus Christ, Christ Jesus. The word Christ actually means in the Greek, anointed one. Any person who finds who they are, what they're supposed to do, and spiritually understand their purpose, design, their mission, assignment, is a person that's anointed. You are Christ. Whew. But here's something that you got to understand. That the Creator has not given you a spirit of fear. Stop being fearful of being counseled by somebody who can't counsel you. Stop being fearful and stand up and be a man. Where's a word for what we call to where I'm from? It started with a P and it ended with a K. It had an N in the middle. But we have been given power. Now, what is that power? The power is Knowing who you are gives you power. Power is the ability to perform to the task at hand, whatever the task is. The next thing that you have is love. If you have love, love is the most important, the strongest, and the most enduring concept on the face of the earth. There's no greater thing than love. Love for people. Love for peace. Love for helping people, for serving people. Loving to be what the Creator called you and created you and put you here to be. So you have power, you have love, and you have sound-mindedness. Now, there's a difference between mindfulness and mindedness. So you were given a sound-mindedness. Sound-mindedness is basically the way to think in a given situation. You have the certain mind to be able to do. There's only one that has mindfulness, and that's the Creator. The Creator is the only one that's full of mind. But you have been given mindedness, the way to think in a certain way when released and given to you by the one that is mindful. So understand that. Try to grasp that one. It'll help you. Another thing that we've got to understand is the greater one is inside of us, not out there. If you have the power to love and the sound-mindedness, you have the greatness inside of you. Greatness is inside of you. You can't lose. You've got to understand the power that's in masculinity. You've got to understand that there's power in masculinity and what that power is. We talked about it just a few points above. Okay? Understand that there's power in masculinity to insert, to initiate, to pierce, to penetrate, and to insert. That's the power of masculinity. And it has nothing to do with sex. It comes from a creativity perspective. It comes from a visionary perspective. And sex. But that's minute. That's childlike. Number 3 is that understanding the power in spirituality. You need to go back and look at this over and over again to understand what spirituality is and what power is in it. I listed it. You got to understand the difference between religion and spirituality, which we talked about. They are not the same. Gentlemen, you need to understand the power of faith and fear, the differentiations between the two, and learn how to resist one and put on the other. That's number 5. Number 6, we've got to learn how to separate from soul ties. Now, I'm going to talk to you about soul ties and give you an understanding of what soul ties are, because what I'm hearing is not what soul ties are. Number 7, separating from sexual ties. Kind of the same thing, but in a different way. Okay, one is mental and the other one is physical, basically. Okay, the next thing is this. Gentlemen, don't eat everybody's cooking. You don't eat everybody's cooking. First of all, is some folks can't cook. So, be very careful that you get to know someone before you eat their cooking. They invite you, no, I'd rather at this junction of our relationship, I'd rather us just get to know each other, and then we go out and we do some things together. But you don't eat their cooking, because see, if you're not developmentally in the right place, that could open a trap door for you. So you don't eat any and everybody's cooking. Okay. And the next thing is number 9. Don't be so quick to be intimate. Don't be so quick to get the cookie. I know. It's in our nature to want the cookie. And they know that. And they work hard at becoming good at manipulating the cookie so that they can control you. What you got to do is not be quick to get the cookie and control your desire for it. You control the cookie, not the cookie controlling you. The next thing is to refrain from oral sex, especially at that time of the month if that's something that you do. Number 11, I said this before. Witches are a part of religion, pagan religions. It's still a religion, like Christianity, Mormonism, Judaism, and all the other isms. Okay? The next thing, so in knowing that they are a religion, you've got to understand that religion does not have authority over you if you are operating and seated in high places in spiritual places. Okay? Now, let's say you go to her house, right? You need to be aware of your surroundings, especially in new places, new environments. Be aware of what's around you. Be knowledgeable of what things what things represent. Okay. Number 13, believe what you see the first time. If she shows you who she is the first time, believe it. It wasn't an accident. The universe is revealing the truth to you. I'm not saying being suspicious about people, but the bottom line is, if something that the universe wants you to be aware of, the universe will get your attention. You don't have to be, you don't have to be doing that. We got to understand that witches are not men or women. They are males and females. They're not men and women. They're operating on a lower level. They're operating on a soul level. And you're operating on a spiritual level. Okay? When you have to look for things that are hidden in plain sight. There's some things that will be hidden in plain sight. And then there's some things that are not in plain sight, but you need to go and search for them. That's right. When she's not there and you there, you need to look around. When she comes to your house, she's doing it. Believe me. I caught one when I was dating back a long time ago. I was going out to the store and came back, caught her going through my mail and everything else. Oh, yeah, they go through your stuff. You need to go through theirs too. That's how you learn about them. I found out that I was dating witches. I found stuff that's why I'm telling you. There's things that will allow you to know. And if it looks strange and you have a funny feeling about it, you need to research on it. Take your phone, take a picture of it, and go do some research so you can understand what you're dealing with. Now, I'm going to tell you this, straight up and straight out. If you find out she's a witch, immediately and without hesitancy, leave her alone. Leave her alone. No, it doesn't have any influence on her. But why would you want that? There's something wrong with her. There are plenty of women out there, plenty of high-functioning women. And what you have to understand is a lot of the things that we're seeing through the media. We see these women and look gorgeous in the makeup. They're all made up. It's an incantation, man, because when you take when she takes that makeup off and you see what she really looks like, or that hair, she takes off that weave and you find out that you have more hair than she has, or that waist trainer and she takes it off and you find out that her stomach is so big, or she's got a bustier that lifts her boobs, and when she takes it off, they drag it on the floor. That's witchcraft, man. That is witchcraft. Natural beauty. All these piercings and tattoos, that's not feminine. That's not feminine. It's not. So what we have to do is understand what feminine looks like. Feminine is soft, gentle, ladylike, alluring, but yet still strong. She adds to, but doesn't try to take over. She's a support. She doesn't try to take. She doesn't try to insert. She tries to receive. So, understanding masculine empowerment. I hope this was helpful for you. And then we're gonna go further in some other areas to offshoot some of the things that we talked about. Not so much the witchcraft piece, but there's other things that we talked about that we need to really look at and really go through in more in depth. And we're going to do that in the future. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you got something out of it. I enjoyed sharing with you. And I hope that you'll go back and you'll go over this over and over again, because there's a lot in here. And it's not because of me. Not me. Believe me, it's not me. I can't take credit for this. But I do know what my assignment is. And you're my assignment, gentlemen. And to our males, you're my assignment. And to our boys, you're my assignment. Well, I surely enjoyed our time together. And I hope that you will continue to come back. And what you would do, I'm going to ask you once again, if you would like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for our future uploads. I need you to look underneath the scrolling. What's scrolling across the bottom of the screen is our contact information, so you can get in touch with us. We'd love to hear from you. It's important that you do subscribe to this channel. We need men to hear this. We need males to hear this. And we need our boys to hear this. We need to rescue our boys, gentlemen. We need to rescue our boys. So until the next time we come together, this is G. Alfred Palmer, wishing you the best as you go on. Peace.
getting there.